It's like buying an MRI or a CT scan or even an X-ray machine, and you have this equipment that gives you visibility into things that the naked eye can't see. But yet you're trying to do diagnosis without using the tool, or you don't know how to use the tool in order to find out what's going on in order to determine what kind of a procedure you might want to do in order to solve the problem.
Welcome to the Industrial Cybersecurity Insider. In each episode, we dive into the world of industrial cybersecurity. Join us as we cover the latest trends, innovations, and practical insights as we talk with leaders and practitioners across the industry. Gear up and let's get into this week's episode.
Hi, this is Dino Busalaki.
And I'm Craig Duckworth. So today is the end of the week, Dino. What you got on your mind today?
Well, you know this term shadow OT, or as some might want to call it, shadow IT. Shadow IT has been a term that's been around for a long time, which are shadow groups within an organization that weren't necessarily reporting up through the IT leadership or through the enterprise organization.
Yeah, I'm familiar with that.
Yeah, I think on the IT side, I don't know. I don't know if I'd call it shadow IT for the OT organizations that are dealing with technology, right?
I wouldn't either. I would call it ingenuity because the plant team is being ingenuity to get things done. And they're going to bring in whatever they need and go around the policies, procedures that are in place because we hear it all the time. Security gets in the way of getting stuff done.
Yeah, but I also think that, and we've said this before in other podcasts, that IT isn't necessarily invited to the table if there's some type of lifecycle replacement activity going on or an expansion of some sort. When it comes to the industrial control systems, those are run and gun by the OT organization, by the engineering teams, their OT ecosystem, whether it's driving product innovation, plant floor efficiencies, right, improving operations, improving safety, whatever the case may be. And that gets you back to that think globally but act locally. And this is entirely an act locally activity, predominantly when it comes to the specific environment within that plant floor. And I don't know how you can consider that to be shadow IT when the networks involved with those control systems, the applications that are being chosen to run those machine centers, the PLC choices that they're making, the SCADA application choices that are being made. IT's not making that decision, right? And for this whole cybersecurity conversation, in order to really get to the meat of trying to get the visibility that you want within that plant, you have to breach that somehow, right? It means you have to be able to go into that plant, open up those panels, which in a lot of cases, you have to work within certain windows to do that. And there are certain safety activities that have to be in place in order to do that. IT's not working in that site every day. You got a lot of plants in your fleet. It's a very hard logistical problem to solve. And so at some point, you have to recognize that there's an OT ecosystem out there that has a lot to do with the maintaining and managing and support of that stuff, and also along lines of designing it and implementing it, start up and commissioning it, that has little to no IT participation at all. So from a cybersecurity standpoint, how are you going to solve that problem in order to determine the risk associated with those assets, to gain the visibility that you need to get in there, to put the technology in there to do that, and then manage through it when 85% of the data thrown by an OT intrusion detection system is for OT to solve those problems, and whether it's a PLC update, firmware update, or somebody made a PLC change, right? And maybe at some point the vernacular needs to change from a cybersecurity conversation for another topic of a podcast is, should it be more along control system integrity, OT system integrity, and not necessarily be a cybersecurity conversation, because that immediately puts it into the hands of IT in everybody's thought process, right? And they're just not getting it done. They're hitting the wall because they don't know how to get past the carpet under the concrete.
Yeah, no, I would agree with you 100%. That's probably another conversation, but you're right. The vernacular needs to change because the minute that the word cybersecurity comes out of anybody's mouth, everyone in the manufacturing arena immediately deflects, sends it to somebody else and says, we've been told that's this person's issue, and they just don't have it. They're just not capable to do it.
And so here's a real world example of something that's recent we've been working on, right? So we have a client that every morning at 8:10 a.m., they lose portions of their production. Their plant floor shuts down. And this has been going on for several months to almost a year's time frame. And they have an OTIDS, right? They have one of the top tier OTIDS platforms in their environment. And they're not leveraging it. It's something that IT put in, right? Something that the OT people aren't using, but said, here's they have this issue. IT's not so much aware of it because in their view, when you tell them that you're having this problem, if they can't pinpoint it for something that's impacting control systems, they don't think it's their problem. And their go-to is always to look at the network. That's the first thing they're going to look at from an IT perspective is they're going to look at the network and go, hey, the network's working fine. That they're going to go, all the other applications out there are working in that facility. I don't know what's going on with your control systems. So our team is granted access to the OTIDS platform, which is a machine learning tool, right? And it's got AI capabilities. And within the first half hour, sitting there watching this event unfold, they found 3 servers in the environment that would fire up at this 8:10 time frame and start blasting the network and the HMIs and the control systems with all this unnecessary traffic and services. So then that was brought up and say, okay, these 3 devices, these 3 servers seem to be at 8:10, which is the time frame you're telling us that you're having plant production issues, doing all these activities. So then that's passed back to the client. The client's response was, well, those 3 servers were decommissioned months ago. And it's like, well, they're still here. They weren't decommissioned, they're still here. So that was issue number 1. Issue number 2 is, okay, we'll get those things off the network. So then they went out there and disconnected those devices because they weren't supposed to be there, only to find out that one of those servers was still servicing 3 HMIs. Again, they didn't know it. So my point is that you get back to the visibility, right? And back to process integrity or control system integrity or production plant floor integrity, not a cybersecurity issue, but a production issue.
Well, we had an engagement with a brewery down in Texas. We were called in specifically because they were having network communications issues. They didn't understand why. They had a third-party outsourced IT provider in there helping to support them. And we were able to go in with a top-tier IDS platform, diagnose what's happening, what they're seeing, and resolve that for them because of the experience that we have in that OT network and analyzing and providing insights and data into those IDS platforms so the business can make a decision. But organizations, they don't understand that. IT doesn't get that.
Well, and in that particular case, it was the unrefuted data that was pinpointed exactly where the problem was at, right? In that particular case, you had Siemens in the brew house, you had Rockwell in packaging, you had a ProSoft module in the middle. It was handling the communications between those 2 different automation technologies, SCADA systems, and it was misconfigured. And the Siemens side was throwing so much data over there towards that ProSoft module that was supposed to be communicating with the PLC couldn't consume it. It was just throwing data on the floor, right? And so once we're able to determine that, one, they had to replace the ProSoft module because it wasn't the right module to be in there outside of being misconfigured. And they solved that problem by having to replace a piece of equipment and configure it correctly in order to solve that problem. Again, had nothing to do with cybersecurity.
But they would have never have known that had we not gone in and used an IDS to, well, think of it from a forensic accountant standpoint, chasing the money. Someone is white collar crime, follow the money. All the shell companies, you're going into the network, you're doing forensic investigative kind of like on a network, and you're analyzing that data that's there back to those shadow networks that we started on. You would not know those existed if you don't have a tool in place that's going to give you that visibility and those data flows to tell you what's happening.
And the irony is a lot of these companies have bought these tools, right? It's like buying an MRI or a CT scan or even X-ray machine, and you have this equipment that gives you visibility into things that the naked eye can't see. But yet you're trying to do diagnosis without using the tool, or you don't know how to use the tool in order to find out what's going on in order to determine what kind of a procedure you might want to do in order to solve the problem. Right. So you bought the CT scanner or the MRI machine and you're not using it effectively.
Well, yeah, a patient comes in and says, my arm hurts. What does that mean? So you got to diagnose it with the correct technology to understand what's wrong.
And we see this, right? And we're starting to see this a lot now because the technology's been around as far as these operational technology, intrusion detection systems these companies have bought over the last handful of years. And all of this, and they're recognizing they're not getting the value. And there's pressure being applied to IT who bought this tool, and they're getting pressure to go, and you're not getting it done. You're not getting I still don't know the risk associated with my assets in my manufacturing environment. What the heck's going on, right?
Yeah, we see that more often than not. I'm working with a client now that bought 100 assets or 100 licenses of an IDS platform 2 years ago, and they've got like a dozen installed. They can't get it. The organization doesn't have the ability to act and think locally to deploy that within the environment where they bought it from a global standpoint, and they just can't roll it out. IT can't get it there.
Well, they're not getting OT's buy-in, right? Because OT's sitting there here and going, "Oh, this is cybersecurity related. That's not my problem." That's their mindset, and that's the miss in this conversation. Is that the real miss? And it does not know how to effectively carry this forward because if you're not engaging the OT ecosystem, and you have to really, when you look at the OT ecosystem in your manufacturing environments, you have to look at who all the players are that are involved. I used to say you get all liars in the same room, right? And there's third parties, right? You got the plant, the internal plant people. You have third parties. You got system integrators and OEMs that are in the mix. And OT hasn't had the ability to rein these cats in to be able to know what their role is, what the technology is, what their responsibilities are, even know who they are, right? And so their fallback position is they look at the network and go, as long as the network looks like it's operating well, I'm good because I don't have any responsibility for the applications on that side of the fence. They just don't.
Well, they're an infrastructure only at that point. They may provide the compute platform or the vert platform or the infrastructure, but as far as applications that go on it, you talk about the SCADA systems and you talk about the MES, those applications, they're not part of the decision making platform.
Well, and I have the background because I started on the networking side of things, right? And when somebody was calling up and asking, saying, "Hey, there's something the matter with the network," the first thing I went and looked at was to see what other applications weren't working. And if I found that there was just one specific app that wasn't working, my immediate response was, "You need to fix your app." It has not because everything else is working fine, right? And so why would I spend time trying to troubleshoot a networking issue when I don't have a networking issue? Whatever problem you're having is with your application or with the server that's running that app and the machines that are communicating with it. It's like you got to figure that piece out because it's not the network. Right? But today, now we have better visibility tools that can get in there and really help shine a light on what that interaction is so you can track the problem from just beyond the networking issue portion of it, right? So when you think of the OSI model and you think of layers 1, 2, and 3, the network kind of stops at 3, and then from there on up, you have the operating system and the drivers all the way up into the application level. It moves to a different group of people to go figure that out, right? And now, and these OTIDS tools, they can map out that whole stack, right, from the network all the way up to the application, and that's very beneficial. But you have to know the app. And these are not applications that IT is responsible for. It's not trying to throw them under the bus. They're not responsible for the SCADA application. They're not responsible for the PLCs, right? That's not their that's not their role and go. So
But I think the takeaway is as organizations are trying to figure out, do they have shadow networks on their environment? Do they have rogue assets in their environment? Do they have,
yes, they do. Every single one of them's got rogue asset.
well, we know that, but multiple ways for remote access into their environment? How are they validating that? Who's the partner they're choosing to go down that road with them Are they making the right decisions up front to try and address these? And if you're not, reach out to us. We can help you. You got to start doing something.
Yeah, the IT folks, what we're basically trying to say is you need some new friends. And those friends are the people that have a manufacturing mindset, right? Are born in manufacturing. That's what they do all day, every day, and that's their scope. You got to bring them into your tent. Somehow, some way, you have to start bridging that gap to find out who are our key critical suppliers that are helping us with our manufacturing facilities and get them in there and start having a conversation with them.
No different than I've heard you say 100 times. The automation vendors and your key partners need to be on speed dial if you're spending X amount of money with them. It's critical from a manufacturing side.
Yeah. Because IT knows this, but OT really knows this. When those machines aren't running, you're losing revenue, right? That's costing you real hard money. And so, and the OT guys, all they want to do is get back up and running, right? Because they know the revenue is being lost. And I don't think IT necessarily feels that pain point like they do. And I don't know if it's important and relevant to get them that close to the fire, but at the same time, I think IT, who's responsible for a cybersecurity strategy and the budget, needs to start expanding their scope of influence with those folks that are responsible for what's going on inside that manufacturing facility.
Yeah, without doubt they do, for sure. Yep. Great conversation. I'm certain there are thousands of organizations that need to hear this message.
Yeah, and we'll have to hone in on what's a real message for OT to start being concerned about this, right? And start driving from the other direction. Again, whether it's control system integrity, OT network integrity, something that demonstrates it's not necessarily a cybersecurity discussion per se. Just that the tools have that machine learning cybersecurity slant to them because they can track malware. They can tell you the risk and vulnerabilities associated with those assets, which is all good stuff. But at the same time, somebody needs to be able to interpret how's that machine environment actually really running.
Yeah. For anybody out there trying to get started, give us a call. Do some research, do some homework. We're here to help. We're here to support. Don't be bashful.
Yeah, you can find us on LinkedIn if you can't find our emails.
Thanks for tuning in to the Industrial Cybersecurity Insider. To stay up to date with our latest episodes, be sure to click the follow or subscribe button now. And if you found this podcast helpful or have a topic you'd like us to discuss, please leave us a review or let us know. Thanks again for listening. See you next time.